Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game So we're got a fun, exciting, and ultimately weird episode for you guys today, and that's because we're taking a look at Petscop or Giftscop on PlayStation 1, because it just recently updated and a bunch of people asked me to take a look at it, and usually when a lot of people ask me to do anything, the video is going to fail, so we'll have to see what happens here. And to pretend that I even have any idea what's going on in Petscop would be an absolute understatement. I watched a few of the YouTube videos a long time ago, and while it was intriguing, definitely something that really didn't hook me in, but any sort of newer updated PlayStation 1 homebrew definitely is the type of thing I do want to take a look at, and I will say in my experience playing Giftscop, which is technically also called Petscop, I had an absolute blast trying to figure out what in the ever-loving hell is actually going on in this universe. And just so you know, I've kept this video spoiler free because if it is something you want to kind of get into and figure out what's going on in the world of Petscop, I definitely don't want to ruin that for you. Before we get too far involved, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, got a Patreon link down below as well. But there is your first boss trying to get through that door on the right. It is very hard to line up. But I will say right off the top that this game aesthetically absolutely has a vibe going on with all these weird colorways. Kind of looks like a piece of Yipe Stripes gum in my opinion, for lack of a better term. I absolutely love the overall visual imagery and the weirdness that's on display here. Now if there is a point to Petscop, and honestly a point would be irrelevant in this situation, it is that you're supposed to be catching pets in the world that have been abandoned. You catch them and what you do with them and how things go after that is completely kind of up to the game and whatever it feels like doing, which is to say you're never going to understand what Petscop's actually trying to do. You're just going to kind of go along for the ride. But it is the perfect type of game for PlayStation 1 because we had games that were very similar to this that actually saw retail release. Especially in Japan, there was absolutely some absurd games out there, and this definitely kind of rides those coattails and inspiration for the PlayStation 1 weirdness. And if you do want to play this and you're not familiar with what Petscop is, I highly recommend you go to YouTube and watch the video series beforehand because it's going to provide a lot of background context. This is basically almost feeling like an ARG, except all of the puzzles are in the game in and of itself, but your interpretation of what's going on and why it's going on is going to kind of be down to your own experience with Petscop. But I just love that this has been made for PlayStation 1 and recently updated with more content. It absolutely works on DuckStation. You can play it on real PlayStation 1 hardware, and you can play this on Mr. FPJ as well. And it's games like this that absolutely just have a really fun place in my heart. Because Petscop was just a video series, there was no actual game that existed alongside of it. It was kind of in that quote-unquote haunted game kind of genre. But fans decided, you know what, if the game doesn't exist, we could probably make it so that everyone can actually interact with the story that they're watching. And that's exactly what you're getting here. And I will say the puzzles on display, trying to figure out how to catch some of these pets, definitely works. If anything, it kind of just feels like a really perverted, haunted version of Pokemon. I use perverted more in the way that they've changed up the overall theming and not the way you're thinking. Catching each single pet, and they definitely don't all look like pets because that looks like a human, is going to be an interesting procedure. There's different puzzles in the game, and those puzzles are going to be how you catch these actual people. I'm showing you one right here, but otherwise, you'll have to figure out everything else yourself because I had to advance the steps by 7 to basically line up my doppelganger there to be on top of that woman who's technically a pet within the game. But you're going to see so many strange and weird things here, but I'm going to give you a fair warning. This is something I did, and I'm not sure if it's supposed to happen or not, but you can actually get yourself trapped in the early areas of the game, and I will show you that in just a moment, so be careful. There's one bug, at least I think it's a bug, could just be Petscop screwing with us, that'll basically lock you in a room with no way to escape. But you basically have to kind of navigate around the world yourself because you'll see there, we're not sure if that door is open or not, but you don't know what doors are and you can't open them, so it's basically locked for you for now. And I love this kind of fade out technique here. When you're going off the map, everything just turns to straight up white, and you basically have to navigate back to where you came from, and how the polygons and the textures and colors kind of come in from there as they fade in. Absolutely a good look, and something that I think the PlayStation 1 hardware really serves for the game's overall styling. The vibe here isn't just the weirdness of Petscop, it's also the weirdness along with the visual stylings of PlayStation 1. But a soundtrack sample one time, 45 seconds, and I'll be right back with a lot more. I love how light and cheery the music is there, because trust me, this game is neither light nor cheery later on, but you will see. At least I presume this is a bug, as I couldn't figure out a way to get out of this room. Do not run through that gate to try to catch that pet in the background. You'll end up being able to catch him, but you won't be able to actually get out of that gated room whatsoever, and if you quit the game and save there, you're going to basically be stuck in that room permanently, which could just be something the developers are screwing you with, just for a kind of fun laugh, or could be something that could be fixed in a future version. But you'll see here, the first pet we caught was Pen. She's a mathematician and she's deaf. What does that have to do with the overall story whatsoever? I have absolutely no idea, but it is one of those things. Be careful where you save in this game, because now I'm stuck in that room. Sure, I caught the pet, that's a good thing, but as far as actually getting out of this room, absolutely boned. But again, this is the fun thing about Petscop. You're never sure where the game is doing something or where you're doing it. You're not sure if the game is messing with you, or you just haven't figured out how to solve a puzzle yet. And I am not going to show you how to catch that final pet, because honestly, that is part of the fun. This game just is going to test your patience in a good way as far as puzzle solving is concerned, because there is a certain rhythm and a certain cadence here of the gates, as well as forcing that pet to jump back and forth, that will work for you, so definitely stick with it. And of course, there are going to be playthroughs online, so if you do get stuck, no judgments whatsoever if you want to check one out, because when I say this game is obtuse in the ways it tries to teach you things and the way you have to learn it, I 100% mean it. This game is not going to hold your hand in any way whatsoever, but that sensation of discovery and being successful in catching the pets and understanding what's going on in the game really is what's going to drive you forward. But I totally understand this sort of experience might not be for everyone. It is a weird game based upon an internet video series, based upon the concept of a haunted PlayStation 1 game. That is definitely niche among niche, but it does work for me. But you have to basically be aware of your environments as well. Both the cloud here and the flower are both pets, so the question is, how are you going to capture each and every one of them? Because you will see the cloud does shrink when his water goes out, and the flower basically gets blocked off if it goes through the grass. So you have this bucket here. I will give you a freebie one. You need to move that bucket into where both the flower and the cloud are going to, because what does a bucket do? It holds water, and it also blocks objects from coming out of the ground. So you kind of have to use this creative puzzle solving thinking here, because you'll see as the cloud melts right there, we didn't have it in the right spot, but as he comes back, you're going to see we're going to adjust that bucket, and suddenly he is in there and he is now caught as a pet. And because we also blocked the flower, we got a 2-for-1 deal right there. And you can go into the menu and find out what they're all about as well. But again, I am keeping so much about Petscop from you, because I did play this thing for some hours, just kind of getting into it and seeing where it went, and trust me, it is going to switch back on itself. It is going to confuse you and confound you. It's going to kind of creep you out as well, but all of that stuff is really the fun here. And you'll see Randice, an interesting name for sure, is a flower. We knew that whatsoever, but it's one of those things. This game is just going to give you so much weird information. You're just going to kind of have to ingest it and decide what the hell it all means. Let's go to the second soundtrack sample, because the game has some really eerie, creepy, and charming music at the same time, and I'll be right back. So the question is here, how do you catch that bird? Because every time you move towards him, you're going to see that his direction is going to mirror yours, and he's going to go up into the air. So you kind of have to figure all that out. And like I said earlier, I totally understand. This is a very weird game, and it's not going to be for everyone. It's just a video I felt like making because, one, I did watch the YouTube video series, at least in part, back in the day, and I was kind of amused by it, and two, any sort of new fan PlayStation 1 development is something I'm definitely going to cover. And because this just recently got updated with more content, it's one of those things. It is something I absolutely love to take a look at in video form. But you leave me a comment down below and you tell me, did you watch the Petscop video series, and if so, what did you think about it, and have you played this before? And if you do want to check it out, I will leave a link in the description so you can go through it and kind of pick around the world of Petscop yourself. And don't worry about the fact that it's called Giftscop. I think that's just because they're kind of playing around with the naming conventions, because it is a video series first, created by a creative, so it is one of those things that's nice they basically didn't just use the name right off the top on the website. But trust me, this one is 10 out of 10 weird, 10 out of 10 charming, and I'm not sure if it's 1 out of 10 fun or 10 out of 10 fun. Again though, just don't go through that gate or you'll be completely trapped. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.